Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, or whatever time zone it is, whether you in the world. It is your Lauren Xavier with some exciting Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines 2 related news. Yeah, you didn't think those words were going to be coming out of my mouth, did you? But no, on the 19th of August 2025, in the year of our Lord Talos, at Gamescom, Paradox / the Chinese Room / World of Darkness / White Wolf, God, that's a fucking mouthful, announced the release date of Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines 2. The 21st of October 2025, and we're going to be having a look at some details on the Steam page because I saw this last night and oh boy do I have some thoughts and opinions about that. And we've covered Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines 2 news before. We looked at the 15 times the trailer announcement of all the different clans, the Ventru, the Banu Hakim, otherwise known as the Assamites if you're just coming into the 5th edition from all the older stuff and have no idea who they are, or haven't been reading your Dark Ages vampire books. The other two clans are the Bruja and the Tremere. Those four clans are a very interesting bunch, and we know we're going to be getting some DLC stuff as well, which was also announced as well, which again we're going to be having a look at as well. We had a look sometime last year about how the Camarilla and the Anarchs are going to work, and some other little game details as well, all of which have been varying in excitement, varying in disappointment, but pretty consistent of things that just make me feel, I'm not quite too sure that folks know what they're doing now that Hardsuit Labs are not doing it anymore, and it's been given into the hands of the Chinese Room, or rather, it was snatched away from them and given to the British-based The Chinese Room. And I'm being joined by a special guest. It is my gorgeous one-eyed ghoul, Holly. So this video is going to be split up into a few different parts. The first part, we're going to be having a look at the Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines 2 pre-order trailer, because most of the trailers that we've seen I had already seen, and I was just reacting my thoughts the day or night after or later that day, but I have not seen this yet and I want to be reacting to this live because I think that'll be a pretty interesting thing. The next bit, we're going to be having a look at the information provided on the Steam page, and then we're going to be looking at an FAQ bit, which I don't think a lot of people are going to be paying much attention to. So without further ado, I think we should just put on the cans, as it were, and check out this pre-order trailer and see just how excited I'm going to be. Or not. Who fucking knows? I sure don't.
So weary is the wanderer that treads on the fertile.
Really? A case? Low-ass textures?
Wanderer.
The fuck is that? And who's opening the case to us, I wonder? Sorry, not even 6 seconds in this 2 minutes and 18-second trailer. Oh boy, this is going to be fun.
Treads on the fertile soil.
Lots of bright lighting. Okay, coming out of Frenzy, that makes sense. White Wolf Paradox in the Chinese Room. Reawaken your powers.
Reputation is legend.
The city flowered in fire, and in fire she will end.
Don't be brutal.
Listen!
Shut up!
Play as both, Fabian and Fire.
Now, this is something. Fire, can you... Oh, guess I found my body.
Detective, is there something you need?
How's the case? Hot leads, cold bodies, reheated plots.
Oh my, you... I think I know what you are.
They say trouble comes
Unravel
in
past
pairs,
memories.
detective.
Or watch Seattle
Trouble
burn
comes
again.
in
That was so predictable.
You are not the only one who has had strange dreams. I see a garden, and I have met someone. But that would mean... Who is he?
Just gonna pause that for just a moment. That was a bit fucking janky. Like, just go back a little bit.
And
I should be focusing on this other little bit of detail, that there's somebody else pulling the strings. I personally feel it's going to be Fabian, who I will just say now, as we read the Steam page. Fabian is not a fin-blooded vampire anymore. They are Malkavian, which, again, I have thoughts about, but we'll get on to that. So I should be focusing on who is this mysterious fella, or fellarette.
Have met someone. But that would mean... Who is...
But that just seems very robotic, and I've highlighted this thing before. But that's just a bit, yeah, not great facial animations, and just the whole stiltedness. And I just have to go back a little bit again, because something that we're going to find out and we've talked about before, we cannot use weapons. Like, we can't hold guns, but we can use them using telekinesis because we're an elder vampire, and elder vampires don't need that shit, apparently.
Who is he?
Hold on. So that symbol there, that's the fucking weird symbol shit that we've got on our hand. So it's not some weird-ass ritual that I thought it was. Or perhaps it is, but it seems to be kind of cult-like. I have no idea what this is, but I'm sure as we play Bloodlines, we'll find out. Hopefully. What the fuck? What the fuck are they? I'm moving my head around as if I'm going to get a different fucking angle, but I hope they're just like some generic monster goon things like a dream sequence, or maybe they represent wights, W-I-G-H-T-S, which if you're unfamiliar with Vampire the Masquerade lore, if you play Bloodlines 1, you know if you run out of blood, you may go in a frenzy and start killing things randomly. Yeah, imagine that, but that is just your existence now. A wight is a vampire that has lost all of their humanity, and in the TTRPG, for which there are 5 editions presently, you have a humanity ranking of 10. Most characters, when you play, start around at 6 or 7, so you really have to be quite a devious scumbag to have it drop down to such a state where you act like a feral animal. But the fact that there's 3 of them, possibly 4,
It brought you here, my fire.
My fire? So is this the sire?
My fire.
Pre-order now, coming 21st of October 2025. Epic Game Store, Steam, Xbox Access. I forget what those fucking mean. They've really fucked up the naming scheme there. GOG, PS5, we've got links to pre-order from Paradox, the World of Darkness YouTube channel, and the Betty Man trailer, but we've still got another 10 seconds to go. Oh, is that it? We're just going to be sitting here watching slow animations with fire, moving our arms about. Okay. I thought there was going to be like a post-credit sort of thing. But yeah, that is the trailer. You've probably noticed it is very action-orientated, and if this is your first look into Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines 2, you know, the sequel to the very buggy and glitchy Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines that was very roleplay focused, where you could get by most of the time chatting away to other vampires. Not here. This is action-focused. Well, I say that. There's a variety of dev diary vlog things that talks about different social interactions and saying this or that, and depending on what you're wearing will like influence certain characters and whatnot. And I've covered this before, so go and check out my other Bloodlines 2 related videos. And there's also been some updated information on Paradox's website, which I'm not going to be looking at in this video, but as we'll soon see, there is a roadmap of exciting content coming away in order to build and maintain the hype for Bloodlines 2. But I'll talk about more of that then. But one thing I want to do is actually have a look at some of the reactions to this. And ignore the videos down on the right hand side. I don't use the Lore by Night YouTube channel to watch videos. This is purely just to upload content. So it's just spitting out all fucking random shit. So it does not reflect the person that I am, in case you see something that's a bit risque, shall we say. So let's have a look here. So, oh, that's interesting. We've got 1,500 dislikes to 2,100. That's about half. Yikes on strikes. Okay. The action RPG video game. Yeah, to the sequel to the cult classic Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines, Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines 2. Let's play a step into the story of 2 distinct alternating perspectives. Elder Vampire Fire and Malkavian detected Fabian. Which was not the idea that we have been going with for the last couple of years. Or at least I don't think that was inferred. Like it's been fire and then you have a little sidekick in the back of your head. I don't know. Maybe it was mentioned in a dev diary thing, but this seems pretty new and a complete change in direction. Yet again, when daylight forces fire to rest, the dreams brings visions of Fabian's past. You awaken as Fabian in a 1920s Seattle, hence the black and white sepia tone backdrop, determined to solve the mystery of your own murder. Oh, that's... Oh, sorry, I just paused a bit, and so we're doing this as an investigation to Fabian's murder. As in the mortal Fabian. But you're not dead. Does it mean like the person who embraced him, who killed him, that was a bit of a surprise? So I'm thinking too much of the lore stuff here, because if you don't know who I am, I'm very much well known for talking about and discussing and unpacking and researching the lore of Vampire the Masquerade, hence the channel name, Lore by Night. You can go and check out my various lore dives if you want, but I'm just a bit puzzled by that. Fabian's Malkavian blood gives him unsettling insights, but also fractured his perception of reality, blurring the line between truth and delusion. Again, I have thoughts on that. So let's see. Let's check out some of the comments of that. Playing for different clans was a huge reason why the first game had great replayability. We've got this 2 clans locked behind a fucking huge DLC, which again we'll be talking about. Having clans behind a paywall. This isn't Bloodlines 2. Give us back the game we're waiting for. As someone who's likely getting to VTM, I'd like to give my condolences to the fans who've been waiting for so long. Pre-ordering after this development. Yeah, it doesn't seem people were all too happy about the state of things, to be honest. I was expecting a bit of positivity, to be honest. A Vampire the Masquerade based RPG game where you don't get to create your own character. This is a huge part of the fun. I don't want to temporarily play as Fabian. I want to be a Malkavian. Yeah, that's... Oh, I mention this now as this has been mentioned here. Fabian was a thin-blooded vampire. Like, all the way through its promotion with 2, he was a thin blood who's in the back of your head. And I had this theory that maybe fire was the thin blood and they diablerized a vampire, Fabian, and it didn't quite work because you've got like the 2 personalities in the back of your head thing, so kind of like the Mithras and Monty Coven thing if we compare it to that element of Vampire the Masquerade lore. But now they have completely retconned that and he's now a Malkavian, which might explain some of the delays that we have been getting. And people had been complaining that they wanted to be a member of Clan Malkavian because despite the controversies regarding about their write-ups and their presentation, the Malkavians are a fan favourite clan. They wanted to be a Malkavian option for Fire, not a completely different character with a seemingly completely different story. I'd presume that the 2 interconnect somehow, hence Fabian being in your head. But the thin blood being in your head is not so as interesting now as a Malkavian being in your head, because the Malkavian have access to powers that can just like fucking talk to people, like mental communication stuff. So I would not be surprised now if Fabian ends up being like a fucking boss fight character, like he's been fucking you the whole time sort of thing. Clearly there is another character, like this guy under the tree sort of thing, my fire. I feel they're going to be the big bad somehow, but this is weird. Yeah, I don't want to temporarily play as Fabian, I want to be a Malkavian. Why is it hard to make Bloodlines since originally sold with all of this polish? Yeah, I mean, it does look pretty, and it's very action-focused, but the original Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines 2 by Heart2 Labs allowed player character options for the Malkavians. This just seems like you spent another 5 years to make new Bloodlines 2 that is just as divisive as the original design, but now it alienates fans to try and attract new players versus the other way round. I'll wait for a sale and Steam reviews. The Vampire the Masquerade game where you can't make a character, you have to pay to unlock more clans. How fucking dare you? I think without further ado, I think we should actually have a fucking look at what this is all referring to, because I won't lie, this is taking the piss. So this is the Steam page for Vampire Masquerade Bloodlines 2, just as we're arriving. It's got the fucking sepia-toned Seattle stuff going on. We've got some little screenshots here. Male Fabian looks a bit war-torn. Got some powers going on, some obfuscate. Gangster, I've got no idea. Bright Neon Line 666. Ooh, devil, edgy stuff. I have to say that it does look pretty. It's got lots of colourful lights, and clearly the Chinese room have been taking full advantage of all the pretty toys that they've been given to do this. We've had a look at this Vampire Anarch before. Go and check out the Anarch video I did for that. I'm saying that because I don't have a fucking clue who they are now. It's been a while. Got some Anarchs and some bikes. Got some Vampire Hunters, I'm guessing, with some like neon bat thing going on. Just guessing. Smoke and Dumpster, which I feel this is going to be a bit of foreshadowing to the state of the game. We've got this vampire character here. Got no idea who they are. And then we got a similar angled Fabian from before. So, scroll down a little bit, we've got the release date. And of course, we have the goodies, the deluxe and premium editions, because that's the sort of thing that's going to guarantee that this is going to be a great game that's not going to be incomplete upon arrival. Now, because I'm the UK, I'm going to be using British prices for you. Okay, let's check this out. So, the base game is 50 smackers, and I'm rounding all these up to the nearest one, okay? So, which I'm not going to lie, I was expecting this to be more just because how they're skyrocketing the prices of video games at the moment. But for £50, British pounds, you get the base game. The deluxe edition is, interestingly, £59. So like a £9 increase. Okay, makes sense. You've got a couple goodies as well. And for the premium edition, 75 smackers. But what's actually in that? Well, let's have a look to this amazing little edition chart to see what you can get with the full experience of Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines 2. Okay, so we got, if you pre-order, you get a nostalgia jukebox featuring music from Rick Schaefer, or Schaefer, I'm not entirely too sure of the name there. Now, if you don't know who Rick Schaefer is the original composer for Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines, and he was working on the original soundtrack for the second iteration, but when it moved from Hardsuit Labs to the Chinese room, they got different composers. Ima Noon and some other guy whose name I've completely forgotten. Basically, if you're a fan of World of Warcraft, those two have been like the forefronts, particularly Ima Noon. So that is pretty exciting for me, a video game soundtrack buff, enthusiast, and composer, might I add. But a lot of people were really looking forward of Rick Schaefer being like the mainstay composer for Bloodlines 2. So whilst it was cool that they did like this behind the scene dev diary about how the soundtrack was going to work with these new composers, advertising the legendary composer and soundtrack for some of these Bloodlines 2 themes that are going to be in a jukebox as nostalgia is fucking offensive. Because it's going to be people my generation and a bit older who played the original Bloodlines, who have all those fond memories of Bloodlines, the soundtrack, and also Rick has been incredibly supportive of the Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines community as well, because you have those like newer, updated soundtracks. Like you've got the original soundtrack that's been remastered, music from the vault, and another one that was released fairly recently that has unused Bloodlines music as well. And there was a period where if you just emailed him and asked, hey, do you have such and such, he'd fucking email it straight to you. But to market that as nostalgia, that very much implies that his music and contributions are acting more like a fucking Easter egg. And that is fucking insulting, because, you know, nostalgia, people my generation, we love a bit of nostalgia. We've got these things with the 80s and 90s, you know, we're going to pay a bit more for nostalgia, right? Or pre-order for a bit of nostalgia, right? Well, let's talk about what you get with the deluxe edition, which is all Santa Monica memories. It's again nostalgia baiting with Bloodlines 1 stuff. The Ankarakan sarcophagus to decorate your haven. Clan Neon Collection, which has got a little asterisk there. What does that say? Available in the haven upon completing a playthrough as a clan. So if you pay £59, you don't even get one of the fucking things you pay for after you complete the game, which is where most people will just stop playing altogether, because a lot of people won't replay this sort of thing because they feel that they've experienced the whole fucking thing. They'll just sort of lose interest as they're going on. But you can't get the item that you pay for until you invested a load of hours into that. And it's not like, oh, you unlock this during play. Like, no, I've paid money for this. I've paid an extra 9 smackers for this. Give me the thing I have paid for, please. But let's carry on. I'm getting a bit too carried away and heated at the moment. You've got the stop sign. You know, the Malkavian interaction. You have a look at this stop sign in downtown. You had that iconic interaction with it. And the Vorman's sister portrait, which you can kind of see there's the one from the Asylum, right? Again, nostalgia baiting. And you get that with the deluxe edition, but not the base game. Now, here's the real offender. Here's the thing that we've just seen off the YouTube comments. the Shadows and Silk, where you get 2 additional playable clans, the La Sombra and the Toreador. You get their discipline training because you open up like perk trees or something. I don't really know. That's part of the more information that's been added on Paradox's website, I think, and some of the dev diaries, but I haven't looked at all of those. And when we have a look at the clans again, I will get onto that in just a moment, we'll have a look at some of those bits and pieces as well. And again, with the Toreador, the additional clan, additional discipline training, and the outfits for the different clans. An additional... That's fucking cheeky. That is egregious as fucking shit. And I am just so fucking baffled with the Toreador being a DLC clan. Like, I get the La Sombra, right? Because they're not part of the main set, okay? They're a bit spicy, they offer unique, different side of play. If you don't know about the La Sombra, they control the shadows. And they have a thing with, like, they're not able to see their reflections, so they're kind of a Masquerade violation. And the light can affect their powers because they manipulate the darkness around them. So that adds a very interesting mechanic to that, potentially in their action game, that could add to some of the difficulty. That I can get. And when I talked about the Banu Hakim being part of the main staple, I thought that was going to be a DLC originally, but no, that's them. You've got them with the Ventrue, the Bruja, and the Tremere, which, with the Toreador, have been part of the basic 7 since its beginning. 1st, 2nd, Revised /3rd, 20th Anniversary Edition /4th, and 5th Edition. The Toreador have been a main staple of that. The fucking vampire. The Toreador makes up such a huge part of vampires' personality, its fucking footprint. It's like 80% interview with a fucking vampire. That's who the Toreador are. They emulate humanity more than the other clans. They're socialites. They're very emotional. They love art and all that different stuff. But them being a DLC clan, why? What do they offer that the other clans that makes them so different from everything else? Because they've got celerity and presence that the Bruja have, so those powers are the same. So I'm assuming they're going to have different celerity and presence powers. But we've seen from the trailer with the Bruja in the past that they've got the celerity and like just dashing quickly into sight. And I suspect the Toreador are going to have that as well. The Bruja also have presence as well, but they have Auspex, which would be interesting. But we have a Malkavian character who has Auspex, and it being a fucking detective game now, that's going to be playing into quite a lot of it as well. And of course at the bottom you get the pre-order jukebox stuff, a bit about the game which we've talked about before, and then some system requirements, which is fairly basic stuff, but as I'm using an older PC, I'm not actually able to play it. Hopefully sometime in the near future. Let's have a look at this roadmap that I mentioned earlier on. Good evening, everyone. We're incredibly happy to announce that Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines 2 will launch on October the 21st, 2025. Check out the extended cut of Vampire Bloodlines 2 pre-order trade on the official World of Darkness YouTube channel, which we've just watched. The additional clans that will be available at launch are the ambitious La Sombra and seductive Toreador, and you will now also be able to play parts of the game as Fabian, the mysterious Malkavian detective who's stuck in Vampire's head. Together, the Kindred solve a murder mystery that threatens to alter modern Seattle's vampire society. Those who pre-order receive, and it just gives you all the stuff that I've just read out already and just moaned about. And then for more information, please check out our new and updated frequently asked questions, which we'll have a look at the moment. So we got the pre-order trailer, which came out yesterday, and today, as of the recording, is the 20th of August, we've got the Fabian gameplay trailer. Now, I'm going to be having a look at that on a different day, because I'm just want to diversify things a little bit. I really want to see how they're going to be handling this, because I fucking hate it already. I was eager, apprehensively so, to see what they're going to do with the character in the head. And I thought I had some really interesting ideas, but as a games master or storyteller, if you want to get proper with it, of Vampire the Masquerade games, I've run countless games of people. I've run games of people who have never experienced Vampire before, to people who've been playing it more than I have been alive, to its fucking authors and developers for the game. I have been in a really privileged position to be able to do those things. And I interact with loads of different walks of life with Vampire the Masquerade fans and storytellers, etc. and so forth. And I've seen countless of character concepts. The Malkavian noir detective, because we've seen with some of the dialogue things, not with this channel, but like some of the extended gameplay, he's got like those little quippy remarks. The Malkavian noir detective is not unique. If anything, that is the most overused character concept I have seen with the fucking Malkavians. In fact, I had seen one late last week on the Onyx Path Discord server, and I mentioned them because they are publisher and developer of Vampire the Masquerade materials, as well as the expanded World of Darkness universe. And everybody who comes up with this idea feels they've got something new, they've got something unique, and all it ends up being is just varying different levels of narrating noir film speak, and it's just cheesy and cringy. And I suppose that with a team of professional writers and developers, they are able to make the writing and a bit more authentic. But man, that sucks. I thought the whole Thin Blood thing was going to be a lot more interesting than that. But they've just completely done a U-turn because they saw that people wanted to play as Malkavians, and someone someplace somehow said no, but what you should do instead is make Fabian a Malkavian. Have it as some weird-ass dream sequence that go about as you're doing your thing. That's crap. They just did not listen to the fucking fan feedback who wanted Malkavians. Like, even if you dropped it as the fucking DLC clan, you could argue that they listened. It would piss people off, but at least they said, hey, we've listened to you, so we're going to expand things and make you play as a Malkavian. So at least you can make your character unique, your version of Fire, but no, you're playing a completely separate character now in a dream sequence when you go to sleep and rest in your haven every so often. Which is so fucking annoying. And also, we haven't seen any Malkavian characters yet. And the Malkavians have been associated with being mad and deranged, which if you have looked through the annals of history, like real world history, it's often been associated with disability, mental health and all that stuff, and it hasn't been treated very well, by all accounts. Like, there was a point in history where if you were just fucking depressed, you'd be locked up in an asylum. Or... And I don't think I need to spell out to you that having a character that has all those different associations put to that, in this sort of quirky, gimmicky sort of aspect, does have its problems. Especially if I feel it's going to gear towards maybe him being an antagonist. Like, the one Malkavian character is a fucking joke character, a quirky gimmick. It's really disappointing, and like, I would have hoped that we could have seen a lot more interesting, unique concepts than just what I feel is probably whoever's directing this. Oh, I had this character for a fucking Malkavian. Come on. That's just so disappointing. Like, I'm hoping with this gameplay trailer, which will probably come out later this week as of the 20th of August 2025 in the year of our Lord Talos, or early next week, depending on what's going on, but yeah, that's just fucking annoying. On the 27th of August, we've got a live stream gameplay film of Outstar and Debbie, and if you don't know who Outstar and Debbie are, Outstar was a large Vampire the Masquerade content creator. They do YouTube things every so often, I know, because people tell me about it every so often. In more recent months, weeks, whatever, has taken a more reserved role, doesn't appear in the face of the company as they once did, and Debbie, from my understanding, is the woman that's replaced Outstar. I don't really know all of this. I've probably got some fact runs. I've never really kept up to date with like the World of Darkness news stuff, because I know they have like a weekly or bi-weekly like news stream on their Twitch channel, but as I said, I've never really kept up to date with that, despite what some people may say and think. But anywho, on September the 3rd through September the 21st, so all through September basically, we've got recaps, video things, whatever, of the 4 playable clans without purchasing additional DLC. The Clan Ventrue, Tremere, Bruja and Banu Hakim, and we're going to be having a look at those again to see what they've changed, developed, retconned, I guess, and see what we think about all of that. That is if you want me to, of course. If not, I'll just pretend they don't exist. Then we've got voice acting stuff on the 1st of October, which I'm not really going to pay much attention to, but the ones that we are going to be focusing on is the October the 8th and October the 15th, the Clan La Sombra and Toreador, because I really want to see how they work. And also regarding all the clan stuff, which makes up most of the video roadmap, I want to see if we're going to have a revise of 15 times the trailers, because that was fun to meme upon. I hope that we at least get 30 seconds, like with the Banu Hakim. I'm hoping that they've learnt their lessons on that and we get more than 30 fucking seconds. Jesus Christ. Hold on, what's that bit of text at the bottom? Dates and topics of the videos may subject to change. Refer to the latest roadmap on the Bloodlines 2 Discord. Well, fuck that noise. I'll just update you as and when they come out and react to them when I get hold of them. So, whenever they come out, expect videos on them, unless of course you don't want me to, but I am definitely looking at the La Sombra, Clan Toreador, and the Fabian gameplay trailer. Now I think we should move on to the frequently asked questions, because there's some bits of information that I feel that some of you are asking already in the comments that are already annoyed about, that might clear up some issues, but it might also complicate things as well. So back on the Paradox Interactive website from the FAQ, which has been updated, as we've talked already. I'm going to go through all of them and just read these as quickly as I can. If you just want to read them in your own time, by all means pause the video or slow down with YouTube, because there's like the cog down there somewhere you can do that. But, you know, there's quite a lot of questions here, and I just want to wrap things up now, because, oh boy, this is pissing me off. What is Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines 2, and when is it announced? Or when was it announced, should I say? Bloodlines 2 is an action RPG game and the sequel to the cult classic Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines. Paradox Interactive announced on September the 2nd, 2023, and will be announced on October the 21st, 2025. Wrong! It was announced much earlier than that, because Hardsuit Labs was developing it, but they're pretending that shit doesn't exist now, for the most part. What is the release date for Bloodlines 2? October 21st, 2025. You know, for them being a European-based company, shameful on them for using month first. Cunts. Who is developing and publishing Bloodlines 2? Bloodlines 2 is being developed by the Chinese Room and co-published by Paradox Interactive and White Wolf. Now that might confuse you a little bit, because you might be thinking, hold on, wasn't White Wolf dissolved by Paradox a few years ago, if you've been following 5th edition dramas and controversies? Yes to all of that, but earlier this year, Paradox brought back White Wolf just for the aim of publishing sort of things like this, which is definitely feeding upon people's nostalgia. I did a video covering about this, which is going to appear in the corner up there somehow. What is the game's premise? Bloodlines 2 lets players step into its story into two distinct alternative perspectives: Elder Vampire Fire and Malkavian Detective Fabian. After centuries in torpor, Fire awakes in modern-day Seattle with a strange mark that seals away their elder powers. Okay, so that's a bit of information about what the marks do. I thought there was going to be a bigger hit mystery to that, but kind of makes sense, I guess. In the quiet of their mind, Fabian's voice stirs. As Fire, you will navigate the city's web of kindred politics, meet its rulers, uncover hidden agendas, and explore Seattle's darkest secrets to reclaim the power that was once yours. When daylight forces Fire to rest, the dreams brings visions of Fabian's past. You awaken as Fabian in the 1920s Seattle, determined to solve the mystery of your own murder. That's so fucking stupid. Fabian's Malkavian blood gives him unsettling insights, but also fractures his perception of reality, blurring the lines between truth and delusion, which we've talked about already when I read out the description of the YouTube video. More information can be found in the following developer diaries. Legend on the Omen, Anox, Camera, Court, Neo. You can go read those in your own time. We've looked at most of these already on the channel. Where does the game take place? Bloodlines 2 takes place in Seattle's dark yet vibrant underbelly, where vampires struggled for survival and supremacy. While stalking the city streets, players will meet compelling characters, engage in intense combat, and satiate their need for blood, all while upholding the Masquerade, the absolute law of secrecy that vampire society keeps hidden from humanity. Learn more about Seattle's role in Bloodlines 2 in the developer diaries, some of which I've alluded to already, but we're not going to go through those here. Is this an action game? Yes. What makes it an RPG? Fuck all. Sorry. This is an action RPG, which means it contains both action and role-playing elements. Depending on your playstyle. Oh, right, it's all one sentence. You can read more about the process and the dialogue choice system in the dev diary, which we've talked about a little bit, and they shared some very minimal screenshots that showed fuck all. As you fight your way through Seattle, there'll be opportunities to try different plays and different playthroughs, such as seeking or charming your way through city's kindred. Do your in-game choices and actions matter? Yes. The relationships characters do or don't make and the actions they choose will impact gameplay. Bloodlines 2 features a dozen different endings that are shaped by player choices. Now, being an autistic individual, I'm taking a dozen quite literally, so they're going to be 12? Thereabouts? Are they going to be like proper endings, or is it going to be like one cinematic theme where, depending whether you spoke to A or B, there's going to be a slightly different narration, so kind of like a Fallout sort of affair? How are the dialogue options differ in each playthrough? Dialogue options will differ depending on which clan you've chosen and what major choices you've made throughout the story. When hunting for Blood Resonance, which is a thing that was developed in the original Bloodlines 2 that was then put in the 5th edition of Vampire the Masquerade, which might explain why some of you think that might be a bit gamified, but it's a mechanic in that game where when you go hunting about, depending on the emotional well-being of the person you've sucked off, it can empower certain vampiric disciplines that you may have. Specific disciplines and outfit choices can also affect NPCs on the street. Can you customize the main character in Bloodlines 2? Yes, you can choose the gender, clan, hairstyle, hair colour, makeup, glasses, piercings, eye colour, and outfit. That's nice. Beautiful from the glasses theme because, you know, I'm a glasses wearer and would like to wear some nice spectacles. And it's cool that you can choose the gender as well, although I have to say, not wanting to sound like one of those people, you know who you are, the models do look very fucking similar to the point where it's a bit difficult to see which one is male presenting and which one is female presenting. And I'm wording it like that because you, the player, may decide that actually you don't want Fire to be any fucking gender. Now, if there is a non-binary option, then that's fucking based off them, honestly, but I somehow doubt that is not going to be the case. Beyond the clan and visuals, can players shape the main character's background or personality? Yes, you will answer questions during in-game conversations which allow you to customize your character's background. This may affect your future interactions with some NPCs and sometimes give you unique dialogue options if the topic of discussion refers to your background. Outside of that, the style of the conversation will make other NPCs perceive you a certain way. For example, if one character believes you to be unusually empathetic for Kindred, they may be surprised if you suddenly change the tone. It sounds very deep and nuanced, but I feel that this is just going to be a more surface level thing that a certain character expects you to answer a certain way, but who knows, I may be fucking wrong there. This is all reactionary stuff and the game's not out yet. In fact, it's a couple of months away until the game drops, so exciting stuff for some. How linear is the game? Bloodlines 2 tells two stories across our version of Seattle. Fires is the present and Fabian's is in the 1920s and onward. Interesting. So I'm going to hazard a guess at different points in the playthrough. It's not going to be just the 20s. Maybe it's like one bit's the 20s, one bit's the 30s, one bit's the 40s, or maybe it's going to be all over the fucking place. Like one moment is the 20s, the others is the fucking 40s. But if that's the case, why not just make a fucking separate game or have a bit of DLC that's Fabian's story and then just have him doing whatever the fuck he's doing in the brain? Why dilute the main experience by diversifying things like this? Earlier on, you'll need to follow a set path since Kindred won't deal with you until you've properly introduced. After that, you're free to build the relationship with the clan Primogens and take on optional tasks alongside the main story, otherwise known as side quests. Does the game all happen during a single in-game night, and is there a time limit? The main storyline occurs across several in-game nights, between which Fire rests in Haven. Shouldn't that be their haven or his or her haven? Alright. There is no time limit per night, so players can spend as much time as they need on exploration, resonance hunting, and additional tasks. Which kind of makes me feel that there's going to be like, you go through each night and there'll be like a cut-off point for doing certain stuff, which is partly irritating but also makes sense because it makes the world feel a bit more believable and breathable. But we'll see how that plays out. Will there be additional content available? Yes, you'll be able to purchase the Santa Monica Memories cosmetic pack, which features decor items inspired by the cult classic video game Bloodlines and adorn vampires in-game apartment. Ah, okay, so you have an apartment that you can go to, but you can also rest at different havens. So it reminds me a little bit of Vampire, where you can like rest at different points in like that depiction of 20th century London. In addition, Shadows and Silk is a content add-on that enables players to choose the La Sombra or Toreador clans for Fire. Each clan offers new, unique abilities, playstyles, and distinct outfits. Both packs will be available at launch. Yay. Is the main character named Fire? Yes and no. Your real name is never revealed. How fucking boring is that? You use Fire as an alias, as many characters will meet also call you the Nomad, as you are an elder with a murky past. We've talked about with Fire in the Gnome, and she's also the sheriff of the city, but there's also another sheriff of the city, which in that video I said was a bit weird because you would meant to have like one sheriff, like one was replacing the other. But a few people in that video reminded me that there are some settings where you have multiple sheriffs. The Victorian age sourcebook London by Night, and indeed the 5th edition update, I guess, of Fall of London has multiple sheriffs depending on its various districts, so it's not too unusual there. But I think it's a bit fucking shit that honestly we never find out a real name. I thought Fire was going to be the real... I mean, it makes a bit of sense, you know, elder vampire wouldn't have such a name, and it kind of explains the whole change of the hairstyle thing, the more modern approach and sensibility, but Yeah, I don't like that. Why is there a voice in our head who is Fabian? When you wake up from your centuries-long torpor, the voice inside your head is a confusing presence. No fucking shit. Understanding who he is and why he's in your head is part of the story. Together you will solve a neo-noir murder mystery, and literal fucking noir in places, that threatens to alter the modern Seattle's vampire society. Will the game be first-person or third-person? Bloodlines 2 is a first-person ARPG, action role-playing game, with cinematic cutscenes, dialogue and some feeding animations in third-person view. I don't know why I find that funny. Will the game include guns? You play as an elder who does not require mortal weapons. That was the bit I was referring to earlier when you saw like the little telekinesis, like moving weapons around. Why? What is the fucking purpose of that? Why can't we just like pick up a gun and shoot things? Like, will that just ruin the flow of your action role-playing game? Does it make things too easy? If that's the case, have you not designed things badly? Isn't using fucking telekinesis with fucking weapons a fucking Masquerade breach? What the fuck? Like, I get, like, as a little thing, like, you could hold a gun and then you could use telekinesis to, like, lift up 2 more for, like, extra damage, like shooting additional people, like an auto-aim thing. That would be fucking cool. But you saw, like, there was you used her clawed fingers, like, to get up, like, the one gun. What a fucking waste. How fucking bizarre. You play as an elder who does not require mortal weapons, but that does not mean you can't use your powers to disarm your foes and fire their weapon using telekinesis. Is there a way to use supernatural abilities in non-combat scenarios? Yes, many abilities come in handy on the streets of Seattle. For example, Cloud Memory resists mortals to forget your previous transgressions if you made a mistake and shown too much of your supernatural side. Why does that annoy me as a fail state? Because I was kind of expecting that to be more of like, oh, tell me the things that you know. Why are you resisting sort of thing. So, a bit of a cop-out thing, I guess. Cauldron of the Blood will put a mortal in screaming agony, distracting everyone around them. You see, I was reading that thing, oh, Cauldron of the Blood, that's a 5th edition power. That we saw the thing in the trailer, they're filled with blood and they fucking exploded. But that doesn't seem to be marrying out with that description. Unseen Aura, an Auspex power, will allow you to perform vampiric actions without being seen by mortals, avoiding breaking the... Oh, so that's obfuscate. Okay, whatever. The game also has 3 abilities that can be used while talking to mortals. The Brujar's Taunt, Toreador's Beckon, and the Lasombra's Glimpse of Oblivion. The game also has 3 abilities that can be used while talking to mortals. Okay. Autism. I'm going to be taking this literally. So you're telling me that Cloud Memory... Oh. Resets mortals. Okay. Okay, I was about to go in a very different fucking rant then. I'm glad I reread that. But 2 of the 4 playable clans have powers allowing you to affect mortals, but the other 2 are DLC clans. So, just like the fucking diagram, to get the full experience, give me fucking money. They'll create a strong reaction from a mortal, either angering, seducing, or terrifying them, and I'm supposing those 3 words are going to match up with this one. Taunt for angering, seduction with beckon, and terrifying with glimpse of oblivion. This also affects their blood resonance. These abilities can be paired with mass manipulation to affect the resonance and behaviour of a whole group of mortals. Now, mass manipulation is a dominate power, so I'm guessing that you're going to be able to learn the other disciplines from other characters. I think we've looked at this before, or it's something that I've at least read before in the past, but there are things that are available in the other dev diaries, but yeah... Drinking from the blood of vampires is essentially going to be blood bonding you to everything, but getting on to that. Will Rick Schaefer return to write music for Bloodlines 2? Yes, Rick Schaefer returns as a composer for Bloodlines 2! Exclamation mark. Kind of feel there's a bit of an irritation there. Rick joins exceptionally talented Craig Stewart Garfinkel and the internationally renowned Ema Noon, who have created a haunting soundtrack that matches the game's atmosphere. You can read all about it in the Music of Seattle, which is like the thing I referred to about them creating music. Craig and Ema, I guess. While Craig and Ema are the main composers, Rick's music is an integral part of the overall experience. Additionally, a jukebox of his collected songs will be available to those who pre-order the game. Now, I'm finding that wording a little iffy. Does that mean that his music is going to be playing as part of the main game? Or was it just used as inspiration for other things? Or is most of it going to be included on the fucking jukebox? Because why not have him as part of the composer team as well, rather than just using the music that he wrote, which is what we know about it so far from the aforementioned music of Seattle bit or the other music dev diary thing. Why not just keep him on board? Why have these two replaced Rick here? Like, that's just gonna piss people off. And what's happening with the blood points are collected on the old website. Depending on how many blood points you earn, you'll receive either the Santa Monica Memories cosmetic pack or both the Santa Monica Memories cosmetic pack and the Shadows and Silk fan pack. You'll need to purchase the base game separately. Please note that this email was sent to an address you used when you signed up the previous website, and there's a sign-off date. Important, the link you formally sent is unique to you. You must fill it out before September 2025, which is basically in a few days' time. I can't ask the email. Can I keep my pre-order if it was purchased before 2025? If you pre-ordered the deluxe edition, brackets unsanctioned, you'll receive the deluxe edition. If you pre-ordered the premium edition, Blood Moon, you'll receive the premium edition. And I do like it that they've done that, and we know that physical editions, if you order the physical version, you'll have been refunded. You can find more version about the different versions that have been refunded. Okay, so no, you're not going to be getting those. Oopsie. It's nice that they have done that, and they're letting people get those if they pre-ordered it, and presuming they haven't pre-ordered it. And the blood points being around the site, I had somebody tell me this is to do with the Battle Royale Blood Hunt, but I might be mistaken with that. But it's nice that they're upholding that as well, I guess. Is the TTRPG show Vain Pursuit still relevant to the story? What about Seattle by Night? Whilst not directly related to the story, nothing in Vain Pursuit contradicts the narrative of Bloodlines 2, and vice versa. Seattle by Night also features a few characters from Bloodlines 2, such as Tolly and Nix, but listening to it is not required to enjoy the game. Where can I find the latest news and updates, etc. and so forth? Yeah, I don't like the fact that Bloodlines 2 is going to be action-focused. It looks flashy, it looks nice, and it's certainly gone up leaps and bounds to when we first saw the Chinese room inception of Bloodlines 2. But it's not doing much for me to go out of my way to purchase a PS5 so I can play this, or upgrade my PC so I can run this. Because it just looks okay. It's not Bloodlines 2. It may be Bloodlines 2 by name, but it's not Bloodlines. That was not an action-focused game. Yeah, because of a rushed development cycle, you'd end up having to do a lot of really action things. And sure, some of its early trailer just shows a bit of combat, but it was very fucking clear from the get-go that the game was more focused about the role-playing. And as we've seen with those YouTube comments, and other YouTube comments I've looked in the previous videos in this sort of like mini-series, like people wanted to be able to role-play, to feel like Bloodlines 2. And in fact, an article with Game Informer a few days ago even said that they didn't really want to call it Bloodlines 2. That's just the name they were given, and that's what they were told to do. Which, on the one hand, makes sense, because that's what Hardsuit Labs was working on. But you had some of the original team working on that. Some of the Rick Schaefer was going to be doing the music. We could see from those early trailers that there was going to be a lot of dialogue. There was going to be a little bit of action for sure. But the focus on those early trailers was on the atmosphere. It was on the dialogue, and despite being a very modern setting, it felt reminiscent of the then 5th edition style. It was murky, it was like the modern gothic stuff. Now, with the fucking bright in your face light all the time and the new toys and stuff, it just feels like every other fucking modern vampire film and TV thing, because that's what people of my generation are into. That's slutty and horny, and like there's bisexual lighting everywhere because vampires don't conform to the social norms of things, which is all great, but it doesn't feel like Bloodlines. It doesn't feel unique. And it's really cool they have those really cool composers. They have a, dare I say, a Hollywood style and sound, and that doesn't fit the grittier and grimier things that we've seen with Rick Schaefer. There's something like those early bits of music he put out or whatever on his channel or somewhere. We could hear like those original musics happening, and it feels like Bloodlines 2. And he put some stuff on his Instagram page recently, and that felt like Bloodlines. If not through any imagery, it's just the sounds like, wow, this feels like fucking Bloodlines. This is a Vampire the Masquerade action game. But as of now, from what I have seen, what I have read, this isn't Bloodlines 2. I'm hoping that whatever they put out isn't garbage, but it's not Bloodlines. It's not Bloodlines 2. And they could have changed it. Like with the White Wolf thing that I mentioned. Paradox closed down White Wolf in like 2019, 2020 sort of thing. Might have been 2020. It's like around those sort of time periods. I forget the exact timings of things. And then they bought everything in-house, and World of Darkness became a brand for a little bit, and then earlier this year they brought back White Wolf back to deal with like the publishing side of video games and the multimedia stuff and other TTRPG element stuff. So Paradox can change things when it benefits them, because bringing back White Wolf for the sequel to the cult classic video games Bloodlines is going to bring people back. It's like, oh wow, I remember White Wolf in the games that played and Bloodlines and blah 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 blah. So they can change it when the money is involved and it gets them to reel in a bit of fucking money. But they're not going to change the title of this, because if they call it, I don't know, Vampire the Masquerade Ascension or Vampire the Masquerade Neo Noir, because that word's a fucking buzzword, and it's like they could, if they called it anything else, it wouldn't have sold. It's not going to get as much hype. But the thing is, you saw from the YouTube comments, there's not much hype about this. There's not much buzz. On Blue Sky, there isn't much buzz about it. Like, there was one person, a friend of the channel, Apollo Speaks, who does like the occasional lore dive things. He's really hyped for it, and that's great. And I'm really happy for him, and I'm really happy for anybody else that feels buzzed and excited about it. My Discord server, which has just over 1,000 members, it's a Vampire the Masquerade focused Discord server. Nobody fucking knew about it. And I only found about it because some friends sent me some screenshots from a newsletter that they got. Like, it's not being advertised very well either, and just no one cares. And people want it to do well. Like, yeah, on the YouTube comments there was some little buzz about it, but with all the fuck-ups, the delays, the 15 times the trailers, and just the long-ass waiting, and just people seeing and knowing it's not going to be a Bloodlines sequel. It's an action-focused vampire game that might as well be called something else, but it's... we know why you're calling it Bloodlines 2. It just feels hollow. Like, there doesn't seem to be much passion behind it, you know. I'm sure there is, because I mean, it does look very pretty and whatnot, but it doesn't feel like a successor to Bloodlines 2. And it doesn't feel like Vampire the Masquerade. It definitely feels like a vampire thing, but it just feels like a weird love child between Deus Ex Revolution, Mass Effect, Andromeda, with the fucking faces, and Dishonored. Which is an interesting mix, but with that weird crock pot of ideas, it doesn't really feel all that unique either. I'm hoping I'm wrong. I'm hoping that when it comes out and like more people start to play it and experience it, that people have lots of fun with it. And I'm hoping that more people get into the tabletop role-playing game through this game and experience the huge amount of Vampire the Masquerade material out there, not just with the 5th edition stuff, but the older stuff as well, because it's all that older stuff that got us to where we are, and it's just a really fun world to be a part of, and I enjoy talking about it. Yeah, this has been a mainly negative video, but I think that my criticisms are valid, and I just want more people to experience the tabletop role-playing game, and it'd be cool if like people could do their own little things if they're in Seattle, and talking about like how they incorporate this, that into the other, and vice versa, what they're going to ignore, why, how well it depicts Seattle. Like, I'm excited for all those conversations and like interacting with like fresh blood, as it were, and like getting people excited into this amazing hobby. But at the moment, I just don't have great expectations of it. So apologies if you've come into this expecting me to be like really happy about this, but for fuck's sake, did you read the title of this video? Did you have a look at the thumbnail? Because 75 quid for 2 playable cans and a bit of dress up. At least make it 4, for fuck's sake. Or make it one of the fucking weird ones. Like, put the fucking Nagaraju in there, or fucking Children of Osiris. I mean, they're not 5th edition things. Well, the Children of Osiris is. But, you know, the Toreador, that's been a playable thing in every single fucking core book, and every Vampire the Masquerade video game for that matter, except for one. But that was a VR game where you were specifically playing as one member of the Assamites, the Banu Hakim. And that's fine, like, because that's how it was marketed, so that was fine. But the Toreador? Man, like, just having those, like, things as DLC is a fucking piss take, and the nostalgia baiting, man, yeah, that's just fucking greedy ass shit. But then again, this is fucking Paradox, so I really shouldn't expect any better. So to wrap this sucker up, because I've been at this for just over an hour now by about 25 seconds, it's probably not going to be that long when I put it out, but whatever. What do you think about this fucking trailer? You excited? You've lost all the hype? Do you think there's a shitstorm? Is there anything that I just missed in the trailer? Are there any other details that I've like missed out or unsure about as of the release of this? So if it's like 5 years from now, don't tell me I've got shit fucking wrong, for fuck's sake. Yeah, let me know all your thoughts and opinions about the Bloodlines 2 pre-order trailer in the comments down below. Now, if you're wanting to try this TTRPG malarkey, or you want to expand your library a bit more, I'm going to leave some Vampire the Masquerade books for you to go and purchase in the description as well. So if you purchase them with those specific links, right, I get some of the money back because I'm affiliate to Drive Through RPG, and that sort of content helps to expand and develop this channel so I can do more cool shit things like this, which is also a win-win chicken situation dinner for you, because you get books, I get books, and you get free content for, well, free, which is amazing stuff. And also, from time to time, I run Vampire the Masquerade games for members of the Discord server and the YouTube channel. So, that's just all great stuff for you, really, and also some good stuff for me. But what if you got those books already and you want to support me financially all the same? You can copy and paste the magical affiliate code and post it into the URL before you add a Drive-Thru RPG product into your cart, and I get some of the money back that way as well, which is an amazing shit. But I can understand if times are hard and all of that, and if you are excited for playing Bloodlines and you're going to spend 75 smackers on DLC for some dress-up items and some nostalgia baiting, I can understand why you may not want to be purchasing these books at the moment. And there's also the fact that it may be expensive wherever are you in the world. So I won't lose any sleep over it if you can't. There's no pressure to do that. But if you can, that'd be absolutely fantastic. But what you should definitely do regardless is give the video a little cheeky little thumbs up if you want more Vampire the Masquerade content. Subscribe to the Law by Night channel so you don't miss said content, and much, much more, because I cover other horror stuff as well and other TTRPG stuff. And yeah, I will see you on the next upload, wherever that may well be for you. And until next time, farewell.